Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Freddie, and this is Goodbye Works. And today, this is the first episode. I actually started this thing a long time ago, like around 2017, 2018. I was doing a podcast, and I wanted a change in my life, and I wanted to help other people at the same time. But my business at the time took a really big hit. Not because of economy, just because I was getting worn out. I was tired. A lot of things happened. A lot of relationships were broken from that business. And I was not really clear-headed on what I was doing in life. I knew what I wanted, but certain turn of events made it impossible for me to pursue that anymore. So I got to the point where I was always helping customers in a certain way other than painting their motorcycles or cars or whatever. And for those who don't know me, I am an artist, and I paint motorcycles, cars, murals, anything that I've done over the years. T-shirts, back in the 90s, airbrushing shirts and pagers, whoever remembers pagers. And it was a pretty fun ride. It was very stressful, very stressful. I mean, the term starving artist has a very strong meaning. I was always chasing, trying to figure things out. And I remember for the longest time, though, I was always easy to relate to. So my customers sometimes trusted me with information that you wouldn't even tell a psychiatrist. But I always wanted to talk to them or help them through, to let them know that things were going to get better and things will change, and that this world is not a forever state of being. And so for, I would say, about 20 years, I started studying more and more in the background. And I know a lot of people will say, well, you didn't go to college and you didn't do this and that. Well, listen, I didn't go to college or school for artwork either. And if you look at my website, I taught myself. Granted, there was a talent from God, don't get me wrong, but I didn't waste it. So for me to teach myself the things that I needed to do necessary for the business, I feel that I have accomplished a lot. And you can check out the website, killercreations.biz, to see what I'm saying. I'm not trying to plug a commercial, trust me. But for the longest time, I've made really good friends, customers that became super good friends that I became super close with. And I feel that I was able to be there for them. Maybe if I didn't even have the answer for what they were going through, not to say that I wanted to have the answer every time, but I also wanted to have the answer for myself. I'm never really a depressed person, but there was many times I was down and depressed. Of course, everybody gets that point. Some people stay there, which is not good. But I knew that there was better answers for what we were chasing or what we were doing in this world, life, living, things you're going through, challenges, etc. So for the longest time, I said there has to be better answers. So of course, I would start reading the Bible. This is not a religious outlook, though. I am not religious. I'm going to state that, and I'm always going to state that. I am not religious. But I do believe, for real and factual, evidence is around us that there is a God. There is one God that created all of humanity. He's created a system, and there's a reason why humanity is here and going through the process that it's going through. That's how I feel, because anytime I asked anyone anything, and even myself, I said, does it make sense? What I'm subscribing to, what I'm looking into, what worldview am I looking at? What religion am I looking at? Do I see it? Is there something wrong? And most religions and worldviews have fundamentally some things that are the same, because it's what God has put in us already initially from the beginning, meaning there's a program. Humans will program a computer. Well, God programs us. And God is on another level than us. That's what I would try to say, with evidence. Evidence is insane. It's all around us. What our body does without us even thinking. Me making up thoughts right now and being able to present them to you and talk to you is insane for you not to believe and then just dismiss as, well, there's no God because there's evil. Like, let's say people say there's a lot of evil. Of course, but who's doing the evil? That's what I want to present to you is who's doing the evil. It's humans. Look around you. Like, people want to see, they want to see evidence for God, but it's like God doesn't have to be present in order for us to believe in God. But you can see the evil that we choose to do as humans. And this is where I know for sure God has given us evil to see what we would do with it. And again, this is more of, because I know a lot of people will say, well, I don't read the Bible and it's too hard and it has too many hard, complicated words. It really doesn't. And I'm not saying that in a sarcastic way. I'm saying that to challenge you to just read it and look at it from a human standpoint. And does it tell you anything about yourself and the world around you? The Bible actually points to God, a beginning, how we got into this mess, and then where are we going, and what is happening, and what is the end goal. And that's the pattern I saw with the Bible. I've studied other things, though. I've studied the Quran. I've studied other worldviews, religions, and there's all patterns. There's patterns to religions because religions are made up by man, so that you don't really have a full answer. There is fundamentals like, you should love your friend or whatever, or you should forgive, whatever. But that's already installed in us by God. So now I go back to, is it religion or humanity? It's humanity. So because God started humanity, he's given us a platform to work within and to work together, kind of like what they do in school. They put you in groups, and then they see how you work with each other. And that's what God is doing. And like I said, this is a much bigger story. I'm just trying to break down what I was going through when I was coming out of my old business and trying to come into the new, trying to find myself or reinvent myself. And who am I really? Am I doing the right thing in my business? Am I helping anybody? And I got to the point finally where I was fed up, and I was saying to myself, like, who am I really helping other than myself? Posting on Instagram and Facebook, all, the paint jobs I do, whatever, keeping up with the Joneses and saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, because I'm bitter and angry at the world because I kind of didn't get what I wanted through my business. And I said, where do I want to be and where does God want me to be? And I noticed so many people, even YouTubers and so-called influencers, I don't know what they're influencing, but they're not influencing anything good, especially our kids. And I feel you should protect yourself from YouTubers that have millions of views because they're not good people. And it's a shame that I'm saying that, but it's true. Not everyone that has millions of views and followers are good people. And we're using the phone and smart devices as babysitters for our kids. And I know it's hard as a parent because we're all tired. We're all overworked. And that's what the world does to you. It overworks you, presents you with evil as good, and then you take it and then you run with it. It's kind of like what Genesis is about. It's like no one was eating a fruit. No one was biting into an apple. No one was eating a fruit. They were partaking. Humans started to partake into the knowledge of what good and evil is. That's why it says in the verse, it says, do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because then you will know what we know, meaning God. You'll know, like God, what good and evil is. But what happens is with that is that we make up our own rules. This is why you're seeing the world in the chaos it is today, because we don't use the rules that God initially put into place when we were made. But I feel that's a good thing, because now that humanity knows what good and evil is, I know for sure that I want to put good back into the world. I do not want to put evil into the world. So whether you believe in God or not, and whether you believe what I'm trying to say to you, it's fine. I'm not saying you have to. But what I'm going to do on these videos is put good back into the world. It's like making an investment in a bank. It's like making an investment in someone else that has a really good business. The exchange for the investment is a really good return, meaning you're going to make a lot of money. I'm not in it for that. I'm not in it for money. What I'm trying to say is the investment I'm putting back into the world is good, because I want God to see that what I'm doing is in a broken body, not being perfect, because I'm not perfect, in this body, I'm trying to put back good into the world. That makes me feel better in the sense that I won't mislead people. I won't try to, do things wrong. Do I make mistakes? Of course, everyone makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. That's why the verse makes so much sense in the Bible. Those without sin cast the first stone. And what do you see on the internet all day? Is people judging other people when they make mistakes, like they're perfect. That's a problem. That's a real problem. And these social platforms like Facebook, they're destroying the world. They're destroying humanity. They're destroying sympathy, empathy, forgiveness. They're destroying it because they're letting you know that you can bash other people when they make mistakes or they aren't agreeing with you totally. That's a horrible way to live. I'm not going to be a part of it. Everything I'm going to do is going to be good to help and motivate people, bring them to an understanding where they don't give up on life. Because there's so many people that I've known in my life, my personal life, that either passed away from self, they have taken their own life, and from depression and from not understanding the real answers. This is why I always said it's answers. It's the answers I've gotten from my friends, which aren't bad friends. But, when I was going through a lot of problems, they would tell me the same thing that everybody else said, especially guys. Guys are so, I hate to say it, guys are so dumb sometimes. They're so, you got to do the manly thing, and you got to do this, and have a drink, and go to the bar, and do this, and you'll forget about your problems, but they're still there the next day. So I did all that. I did the drinking once in a while, trying to forget my problems, trying to make sense of it all, and then I woke up and said, it's still there. Do I have an occasional drink once in a while? Of course. I have wine, red wine, and that's just to make me a little calm and relax, nothing else. But the bigger picture is I was always thinking, what is going on in this world? Why are we destined for death? And what are we doing here? And most of the YouTube videos I've noticed there's a pattern with that too. It's like, just become an entrepreneur, do real estate, make money, become a CEO, be a better speaker. But it gets you, which you can do all that. I'm not saying you can't do all that. But what I'm saying is if you think about it, step back a lot and look at everything and go, is it necessary to do all these things? And what does it cause in the afterlife? I don't think people are focusing on death enough, meaning I don't see it as a bad thing. Am I afraid of it? Yeah, because none of us really went there and has a full, clear vision of what it is. I don't care who you are. I don't believe anybody that says they died and they came back and they seen all this light and heavens and stop. I'm sorry. I'm not minimizing what happened to you if that happened. But you have to understand, it doesn't make sense to me. Because first of all, not everyone is going to a perfect place. And why are we dying in the first place? Why is all of us having, this world, if you think about it, has so much value, right? It has so much value. Friends, family, the things that we make, the art that we produce, the poems that we make, the music that we make, if it's good, right? There's so much value in this world. And to die is man, it's life happens, everybody gets old, you miss your loved ones, and then you die. You have to think about that. If that doesn't wake you up and sober you up to say, there's got to be more to this, there's got to be more to this life, and there is. But I feel if people understood what God is doing here, you would understand and you would change your life. You would actually change for the better. You would change your behavior towards people. You would forgive more. You would understand that it's about you not being perfect in this world, but being able to be conscious and genuine of your behavior with other people, because that makes more sense. God wants to see whatever you do in this short life, can I trust you with a life that never ends, meaning eternity? What does Jesus talk about all the time? He talks about eternity. I'll give you, I am the life. I am the life, meaning that if you understand what Jesus is saying, it's not a religion. He's saying that he's from another place, and he is not human. He is God, right? And for the people that get so mad about that, think about it for a second and stop being prideful. Stop being prideful and say, maybe he's just a being from the other place where we were created, and he wants to show us how to be human, and he came to fulfill what true humanity was. Like, he laid down his life, he died for the whole world. There's no other worldview that I've ever seen like that, where a parent, meaning God, the Father, takes the Son, God the Son, and he offers up a sacrifice so that the whole world, if they believed in him, can live eternally, though. But it's much more than just believing and saying, I believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross. I want to tell you, and I emphasize this the most, stop doing religion. Religion is not going to get you back on track with God. Religion is made by man, and that's what we think gets it back in God's good favor. Meaning, if we do things repetitiously, if we go to church on Sunday every time and accurately, that we will be forgiven. To me, it's not a normal thing. To me, I see it as in vain, meaning like you're doing it just to save your own butt, meaning I'm going to do all these things and I'm hoping that God will forgive me. That's how every religion is. Every religion is the same way. If you don't change genuinely, if you don't start treating people better, then you miss the whole point of being here on this planet. Because if you treat people great, you can still make mistakes. I'm not saying you can't make mistakes. But if you treat people great here, God knows that he can trust you with eternity. Think about eternity for a second. It's basically a timeline that still has a measurement of time, like a clock. Let's say you still have 24 hours, let's say, in a day. But it never stops. Why do you think people are on the highway driving like maniacs to get to the next destination? Because inside of us, we all know that we're running out of time. This is why we act the way we do, because we're running out of time. And we are. We're all running out of time. It's funny how evil mocks us when they make apps like TikTok. TikTok, TikTok. Your time is running out, and you're just entertaining yourself. That is a problem. And I feel that I want to bring to the table with these videos is just start changing your life. Change your life and be right. You don't have to be perfect. I'm not saying be perfect, but be genuine in your behavior towards mankind. Because if you really want to worship God, and if we're made in God's image, then you will treat humanity like with respect and love, right? What does Jesus say? The top law is love God with all your heart and love your neighbor like you love yourself. After all that, every law is based off that. Once you treat someone like you treat yourself, you wouldn't want to be killed, stabbed, cheated on, stolen from, whatever. Once you know that, then you start to change your behavior. I really feel people are doing things just to gain goodness in like count their goodness. Like people will say, "Oh, I did my good deed for today." Well, but how about you do 9 good deeds for today? What's wrong with that? Are you doing a good deed just because it benefits you so that you get good karma or something? Like, that doesn't even make any sense to me. Even karma doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does make sense, what I'm saying. But what I mean, it doesn't, because what it does, it makes a person selfish. Because what are you doing the good for somebody? Are you doing it because you want to do good? Or are you doing it because you're expecting something back? This is why Christmas is a bunch of crap too. Because a lot of people are expecting gifts back. You give a gift, get a gift back. If you're not good, so-called good, Santa won't come and bring you gifts. But think about life. Like, really think about life more deeper than this. We're being entertained so much that we can't really focus on what's normal anymore. It's insane how much entertainment is on the phone right now, and we can't get off it, and we're all addicted to it. It's a sad, sad thing to say. And this is why I want to change. I want to change the things that are on. So if you want to follow, that's great. It's awesome. I'm not going to force you to do anything. I'm not going to force you to subscribe to anything. I'm not even going to tell you should do this, that. I am going to tell you should behave better. So I am going to tell you something. But what I'm trying to say is I want to better the people that are watching this, even if it's a small portion, just better your life, meaning, but genuinely better your life. Like, make changes, like look up videos, read books to make you a better person, but be humble at the same time. Do not be a jerk. Do not go to a religion and go to a church, and then because you belong to that church, you become better than the other people outside that aren't up to your speed yet. That is not right. That is not how you treat people. You accept all human life. I mean, even Jesus said it, love thy enemy. It's very hard. I'm not saying it's not easy at all. But you still have to change. You still have to change.